Oculus Reparo.
Welcome back to Collider. Today we're diving into the incredible career of Emma Watson and exploring how she prepared for the iconic role of Hermione in all the Harry Potter films. Let's get started.
You two better change into robes. I expect we'll be arriving soon.
Emma Watson's journey to becoming Hermione Granger in the Harry Potter series is like something out of a real-life fairy tale. At just 10 years old, Emma was a normal student who loved participating in school plays and performing at Stagecoach Theatre Arts. The casting for Harry Potter began in 1999, and Emma's big break came when her drama teacher at Oxford recommended her to the film's producers. They were instantly impressed by her natural talent and confidence.
Clearly, Hermione knows. Seems a pity not to ask her.
After 8 auditions, Emma was chosen to play Hermione Granger. It's said that J.K. Rowling had already picked Emma for the role after her very first audition, feeling she was the perfect fit for Hermione's smart, determined personality. Casting director Janet Hershenson said Emma was super charismatic and had just the right confidence for the role. Unlike her co-stars Daniel Radcliffe, who already had some acting experience, and Rupert Grint, who had been in school plays, Emma was a total newcomer. But she wasn't intimidated at all. Emma instantly connected with Hermione's fierce determination and love for learning and reading. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was Emma's first film, and it was a massive hit. Critics loved the movie, especially her performance as Hermione, calling it admirable and show-stealing. She was nominated for 5 awards, and even won the Young Artist Award for Best Leading Young Actress in a New Film.
I checked this out weeks ago for a bit of light reading.
This is light.
Watson, who made being a bookworm cool through her portrayal of Hermione Granger, has always had a passion for learning and for books, just like her character. Emma didn't just play Hermione, she truly embodied her. With her love for knowledge, quick wit, and strong work ethic, she was a natural and great fit for the role.
How is it she knows everything?
It's on a suitcase, Ronald.
By the time The Prisoner of Azkaban came around, her favorite book in the series, Emma was fully immersed in the character. She could relate to Hermione's struggle of balancing schoolwork with saving the wizarding world, which allowed her to bring an authentic sense of stress and determination to the role. One of the biggest challenges was that Emma's filming schedule often clashed with exam periods. She said she'd bring textbooks and study materials to work on between takes. When filming in London, she'd try to attend classes and keep up with assignments, even joining virtual classes to stay on top of her studies. While many of her Harry Potter co-stars continued acting after the series wrapped up, Emma chose a different path. She enrolled at Brown University to study English literature, something Hermione definitely would have done. For Emma, education has always been about more than just academics. It's a way to better understand the world and stay grounded.
Me, books and cleverness. There are more important things.
Another thing they have in common is that both Hermione and Emma are passionate about standing up for what's right. Hermione showed this by starting SPEW, the Society for the Promotion of Elfish Welfare, to fight for house elf rights.
Dobby is a free elf.
Similarly, Emma has taken her advocacy worldwide by leading the He for She campaign as a UN Women Goodwill Ambassador, promoting gender equality and encouraging others to join the movement for a fairer world. Playing Hermione for over a decade shaped a huge part of Emma's life, and she even admits there's a lot of overlap between herself and the character. Both are hardworking, curious, and determined, which made stepping into Hermione's shoes feel natural for her.
You really are the brightest witch of your age.
Emma Watson knew she wanted to be an actress from the young age of 6. She trained for several years at the Oxford branch of Stagecoach Theatre Arts, a part-time drama school where she focused on singing, dancing, and acting.
I won't be going alone because, believe it or not, someone's asked me.
By the time she was 10, Emma was already taking on leading roles in Stagecoach productions and school plays, like Arthur the Young Years and The Happy Prince, gaining plenty of stage experience. In addition to her drama training, Emma also went to the Dragon School in Oxford, where she was known for excelling academically. Her love for both acting and learning helped her build a solid foundation for her future career. At Stagecoach, Emma built confidence, which came in handy when it was time to audition for Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. After finishing Harry Potter, Emma kept working on her acting by taking workshops and classes in different genres, like drama and indie films. Instead of attending a traditional acting academy, she preferred to learn through her work and hands-on experience on set.
What are you doing?
Saving your life.
Emma Watson's time in the Harry Potter movies prepared her well for taking on physically demanding challenges in her performances. The last 2 Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows movies were particularly intense, with her character always on the move and involved in plenty of action scenes.
Ron isn't strong enough to apparate.
Well, then we'll go on foot.
This meant filming in tough weather conditions, making things even harder on an already demanding schedule. Although she didn't need any specific training to portray her character, she did need a lot of strength to keep up with the filming conditions. A lot of the filming took place in cold spots like Scotland, where they'd start shooting at 4 a.m. in freezing temperatures, as we can see in the films. Even though it was tough, Watson sees it as great training for her career. It taught her how to handle long hours and tough conditions, and she feels ready for whatever the entertainment world throws at her.
Great, now he's coming for us.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Run!
Looking back, she calls the whole Harry Potter experience a kind of boot camp for acting. She learned how to work with animals, water, stunts, and CGI, adapting to whatever the role required. All that pressure and hard work helped her grow as an actress, giving her the skills and mindset to take on anything that comes next. For example, her role in The Beauty and the Beast. Although Beauty and the Beast isn't an action movie, Emma still had to do some physically challenging scenes, like when Belle runs from the castle, faces wolves in the forest, or works with CGI environments that needed a lot of coordination and precise movements.
Oh, you are very strong. This is a great quality.
Watson has said that no other role will ever be as physically demanding as the Harry Potter films. While those years were challenging, they set her up well for the future, teaching her the ropes and giving her the confidence to take on any project. Beyond Harry Potter, Emma's been in movies like My Week with Marilyn, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, Noah, and Little Women.
Just because my dreams are different than yours doesn't mean they're unimportant.
Post-Harry Potter, Emma has embraced a period of self-discovery, exploring new opportunities and carving out her own path while holding on to everything she learned from her time as Hermione Granger. In a recent chat with the Financial Times, Emma Watson shared why she stepped back from acting, saying it was a mix of personal and moral reasons. She admitted that, during her time promoting films, she often felt unhappy and a bit trapped. It was especially tough when she had to back projects she had little control over, standing in front of the press and defending decisions she didn't make. She felt frustrated by not having a voice in the process and being held accountable for things that weren't her fault. This made her realize she only wanted to be involved in projects where she could fully stand behind her choices. She wanted to be able to say, yes, I made this decision and I could have done better, without feeling like she was being blamed for things she couldn't control.
This is a place where she comes to breathe, to get away from everything, to be peaceful, to be zen.
Since then, Emma's shifted gears to directing, starting with a Prada ad campaign. She admitted that at first, she didn't think she was cut out for directing, thinking it was more about the technical side than the creative one. But after helping out with her brother's gin company, she realized she had the skills for it. Even though Emma's exploring this new direction, she's not ruling out acting altogether. She still loves it and is just waiting for the right project to come along.
Anyone ever says to you that you throw like a girl, you can be like, I throw like Emma Watson hitting a drone.
Playing Hermione from such a young age was a big challenge for Emma Watson, but it was totally worth it. What started as a simple audition turned into a breakout role that made Emma a global star, and it paved the way for a long and successful career in acting, activism, and modeling. We look forward to seeing her continue to shine on screen.
Why did you cry?
I cried with happiness.
Did you know it took 90 takes and 30 backup cameras to film a single scene in Harry Potter? Today on Collider, we'll explore how Daniel Radcliffe landed the role of Harry Potter and the extensive preparation he underwent for this iconic part. Let's dive in. Daniel Radcliffe's acting career began in 1999 when he played David Copperfield in a BBC show. However, his big break came when he was just 10 years old. After seeing open casting calls for Harry Potter, he did whatever it took to land the role. He first sent in an application and a photo to the Newsround TV show, but after weeks of silence, he decided to get creative. I dressed up as my drama teacher, who was a girl, did a rap about how much I wanted to be in the film, and even made a speech before sending it all in, he recalled. His effort worked. He got an audition, even though he wasn't feeling overly confident, but he went in with some hope and belief in himself. Radcliffe remembers the exact moment he got the call. He was in the bath when the phone rang. His dad answered, and when Daniel heard him say, "Hello, David," he thought it was bad news. But when his dad came upstairs and told him he'd landed the part, he was so overwhelmed with joy that he started crying.
And I cried, and I was in the bath.
Even though Daniel's parents were experienced in the industry, his mom was a casting director and his dad was a literary agent, they were mindful about not getting his hopes up too much. They didn't want him to face disappointment after past rejections for other roles. Director Chris Columbus had been searching for his Harry Potter for months, and when he saw Daniel, he knew he had found him. Initially, Radcliffe turned down the role because it meant signing on for all 7 films, which would be filmed in Los Angeles. His parents didn't want him to uproot his life, so Warner Brothers offered a 2-movie contract with filming in the UK J.K., which his parents agreed to. After the success of the first two films, Daniel decided to stay with the series, becoming the face of one of the biggest film franchises ever.
Courage, I see. Not a bad mind either. There's talent.
Daniel has said many times that he didn't have a normal acting career, as he started out directly in a big franchise and had to learn and improve his skills as he went along, facing many challenges along the way. When Daniel Radcliffe first appeared in Harry Potter, his excitement about the magical world perfectly matched Harry's sense of wonder. In the early films, he captured Harry's innocence and awe, particularly in scenes where Harry experiences magic for the first time and forms friendships with Ron and Hermione. Radcliffe's natural chemistry with his co-stars made his portrayal of a young Harry feel genuine, and despite Harry's difficult life with the Dursleys,
What the devil are you doing up here?
I was just...
Radcliffe conveyed his character's untainted innocence. As the films progressed and became darker, Radcliffe's acting evolved to meet the new challenges. In The Prisoner of Azkaban, he showcased his range with a more mature performance, particularly in emotional moments when Harry learns about his godfather and confronts darker threats.
Expecto Patronum!
By The Half-Blood Prince, Radcliffe had fully stepped into the role, balancing humor and drama with ease, especially in scenes like the one where Harry takes liquid luck and shows his comedic side,
Trust me, I know what I'm doing. Or Felix does.
while also handling intense moments with the great Michael Gambon.
You must obey every command I give you without question.
Yes, sir.
By the time of the Deathly Hallows, Radcliffe had truly matured as an actor. A standout moment was his quiet dance with Hermione to "Oh Children," which beautifully highlighted their deep platonic bond and demonstrated his growth. Throughout the series, Radcliffe transitioned from a wide-eyed child in the first film to a skilled, nuanced actor capable of handling the increasingly complex emotional and thematic material of the story.
The Sorting Hat takes your choice into account.
Daniel Radcliffe first came across the Harry Potter books when he was around 8 years old, but at the time, he didn't really get hooked. He imagined Harry as the cartoon version from the book covers. However, after landing the role of Harry, he reread the first book and was completely amazed by the depth of the story. The magical world of Hogwarts came to life for him, especially after seeing the film sets, which gave him a clearer picture of the world J.K. Rowling had created. By the time he reread the books, Harry Potter had become his favorite series, alongside Cirque du Freak and books by Terry Pratchett. Radcliffe also shared his thoughts on why Harry Potter resonated so deeply with readers. He believes that the idea of magic is universally appealing because it represents endless possibilities. If you could do magic, the world would be full of exciting opportunities. Radcliffe has always believed in magic, even in subtle forms. He even joked that if he could have any magical power, it would be invisibility, so he could sneak into concerts without anyone noticing.
Yeah, I don't really fancy this colour.
Well, fancy this. You're not you, so shut it and strip.
In Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, there's a memorable scene where 7 Harry Potters appear in the Dursleys' living room. To keep Harry safe, the Order of the Phoenix uses a polyjuice potion to transform 6 characters, Ron, Hermione, Fred, George, Fleur, and Mundungus, into him.
For Harry.
Yes.
Filming this complex scene was a huge challenge, taking 95 takes to get it right. Director David Yates asked Radcliffe to study his co-stars' performances so he could capture their personalities in his own portrayal of their transformed Harry.
There's 7 of me at once on screen, so it's any actor's dream.
Radcliffe had fun observing their quirks, like Rupert Grint's distinctive walk, which made the decoys more believable. The scene was filmed using motion control cameras, requiring super precise movements. The actors had to stay completely still, or the shot would be ruined, which made the process even more difficult.
We did 95 takes on that.
To achieve the effects, the crew used 30 backup cameras and advanced makeup techniques to capture the details of each transformation. Despite the difficulties, Radcliffe enjoyed filming the scene, especially when he had to wear Fleur's costume. He joked that he looked great in women's clothes. He also mentioned that playing Hermione was surprisingly easy because Emma Watson's unique mannerisms were so easy to mimic.
Harry, your eyesight really is awful.
Although the scene was challenging, it ended up being one of the most iconic moments in the Harry Potter series, showcasing Radcliffe's dedication and the incredible technology used to bring the scene to life.
Real Harry. Where the devil are you anyway?
Here.
Daniel Radcliffe was only 11 when he landed the role of Harry Potter, and in a chat on BBC Radio 4's Desert Island Discs, he opened up about how his family helped him stay grounded throughout his rise to fame. He understands why some child stars end up struggling with substance abuse, explaining that the pressure of being the main provider for their family at such a young age can lead to burnout. When the fun of acting fades, he believes some turn to drugs or alcohol to cope with the stress. Radcliffe praised his parents and Harry Potter co-stars for keeping him focused and giving him the right perspective when he needed it. He mentioned that the main reason he's kept acting as an adult is because he genuinely enjoys being on set. Despite the fame, he's managed to stay level-headed by living and working in London, which helped him avoid the Hollywood culture that he thinks could have made him lose himself. Growing up famous also means dealing with the constant pressure of everyone else's expectations while you're still figuring out who you are. For Radcliffe, having a real love for acting helped him keep his sense of self intact. He's always enjoyed being on set, and even if fame or fortune disappeared, acting would still be his passion. Since Harry Potter, he's continued to take on diverse roles in films like Horns, Swiss Army Man, and Escape from Pretoria.
I can't get her out of my head.
Daniel Radcliffe's time as Harry Potter cemented his place in film history.
Hagrid, we're not allowed to do magic away from Hogwarts. You know that.
Through 8 films, he expertly portrayed the character's growth, blending innocence, bravery, and heartache.
It was Draco who disarmed Dumbledore that night in the astronomy tower.
His work on the Harry Potter series left an indelible mark, shaping his career and the legacy of the franchise.
I'm Harry Potter. Scared of Potter.
You wish.
Ever wondered how a young actor turned a small audition mishap into one of the most iconic roles in cinema history? Today on Collider, we are diving into how Tom Felton prepared to bring Draco Malfoy to life in the Harry Potter series.
See you at school.
Tom Felton, best known for playing Draco Malfoy in the Harry Potter series, has shared some hilarious stories about his early auditions for the franchise, which were far from smooth. Interestingly, Draco wasn't the role he originally tried out for. He actually auditioned multiple times for the role of Harry Potter himself. In a recent interview with Square Mile, Felton reflected on one particularly nerve-wracking audition, where things didn't exactly go as planned. During this tryout, Felton found himself in a line with about 20 other kids. Each of them was asked by director Chris Columbus what they were most excited to see from the books on screen. The problem? Felton hadn't read the books. As the kid next to him answered Gringotts, Felton panicked and simply copied him, saying, "Mate, those Gringotts. I can't wait to see the Gringotts."
Mr. Harry Potter wishes to make a withdrawal.
It was a clear bluff, and Columbus immediately picked up on it. But instead of holding it against him, this little moment may have actually hinted at his potential for the role of Draco Malfoy, the clever, quick-thinking, and sometimes sly character that Felton would ultimately portray. It's funny to think that a small audition mistake could play a part in shaping one of the most iconic characters in the Harry Potter universe.
Maybe if the fat lump had given this a squeeze, he'd remember to fall on his fat ass.
Felton didn't just audition for Harry once. He gave it his all and auditioned 4 times. For one of the auditions, he even went so far as to dye his hair black and sport a scar to match the famous Harry Potter look. Later, he was also considered for Ron Weasley.
Red hair and a hand-me-down robe. You must be a Weasley.
In another attempt, they dyed his hair red to give him that distinctive Weasley look. However, Rupert Grint, with his natural red hair, was ultimately cast as Ron, a role that seemed tailor-made for him due to his personality and comedic timing.
Shut up, Harry.
When the casting team finally decided to dye Felton's hair blonde, it felt like everything clicked. It was clear that Draco Malfoy was the perfect fit for him, and from that point on, the rest was history.
You don't want to go making friends with the wrong sort. I can help you there.
It's fun to imagine what the Harry Potter films might have looked like if Felton had been cast as either Harry or Ron. He admits that while he tried his best for both roles, Draco was the character that truly aligned with his strengths as an actor. His portrayal of Malfoy, with his trademark sneers and sharp wit, became one of the most memorable performances in the series, earning him a lasting place in Harry Potter fandom.
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous. This class is ridiculous.
Fans can't help but associate him with the silver-haired Slytherin, and it's hard to picture anyone else in the role. So, has Felton finally read the Harry Potter books? The answer is yes, at least to some extent. He is seen in TV shows and on social media engaging with the material, showing how far he's come since his early audition mishaps.
I didn't know you could read.
While his initial audition blunders are now funny footnotes in his career, Felton's journey is a testament to how sometimes mistakes lead to the best outcomes. His portrayal of Draco Malfoy ended up being a turning point in his career, one that turned an unexpected beginning into a beloved role in one of the most successful film franchises of all time.
Scared, Potter. Did you hear that?
When the Harry Potter series started, Felton admitted no one knew for sure it would become the huge franchise it is today. People think we always knew we'd be making all 8 films, but that wasn't true, he said. It was more like, we'll do one, see how it goes. That did okay, so we did another. He explained that the cast wasn't promised anything long-term. Honestly, I think we all figured they'd swap us out for better actors eventually, he laughed. But as luck would have it, the filmmakers stuck with the cast, and they grew into their roles over time. I was lucky. I got to bounce between my regular school and Hogwarts for months at a time, he added. Plus, I've got 3 older brothers who keep me grounded.
I thought you said the 4 of us.
No, you heard me correctly, Mr. Malfoy.
Looking back, it seems obvious now that Warner Brothers would complete the entire Harry Potter series, but Felton's perspective on the uncertainty between films is interesting. He explained that filming and editing took a lot longer than expected, and there was always a concern about the cast growing up too fast for the roles. There was always this question, are they going to grow too fast before we finish the films? We were all worried we might outgrow the roles before they finished filming.
Harry Potter has come to Hogwarts.
A big motivator for Felton and the cast was Daniel Radcliffe, who constantly improved with each film. He kept getting better every year, and he raised the bar for all of us, Felton said. Watching him was inspiring. That push from Radcliffe helped the rest of the cast step up their game and develop more as actors over time.
Famous Harry Potter. Can't even go to a bookshop without making the front page.
Felton also remembered how fun the first couple of films were. The first 2 movies, we were just kids having fun, he recalled. But as the series continued, the cast started taking things more seriously, especially with the chance to work alongside legendary British actors.
You got yourself a girlfriend.
Now, Draco, play nicely.
Jason Isaacs, who I still call my father, was a huge influence, he added. Felton's time on set wasn't just about the work. It was also about the relationships and lessons that have stuck with him for years.
You knew it was me. You didn't say anything.
Tom Felton knows it might sound a bit corny when he talks about the bond between the Harry Potter cast, but for him, it's the real deal. Years of filming together, attending conventions, and reuniting for various events have built a connection that feels more like family than just a group of co-workers. Felton admitted in a recent interview, "Every time I say it, it sounds really cheesy, but it's genuinely true. We are all a family." And he's not just saying it to sound sentimental. According to Felton, most days on set weren't even about filming. Maybe 10% of the time was in front of the camera, he explained. And the other 90% was spent hanging out or doing schoolwork together. Growing up side by side like that naturally led to close friendships that have only gotten stronger over the years. "I don't just think of them as castmates, I really do consider them family," he said. And I think I can speak for everyone when I say the friendships have only deepened over the years.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Stylish. Lucky man. Lucky man.
The connection between the cast goes beyond just work and filming. They shared experiences that shaped their lives, and that shared history is what's allowed these bonds to last well beyond the end of the franchise. Felton spoke about how these relationships have stayed strong, noting that they still enjoy spending time together all these years later. "Me and the Weasley twins are on the golf course practically every week," Felton laughed, referring to James and Oliver Phelps, who played Fred and George Weasley. "Sadly, no wands allowed in golf, so I usually lose, but it's a blast every time." The fact that the cast still hangs out and shares these fun moments shows just how genuine those friendships are.
He claims to have been invited to your party.
Okay, I was gate crashing.
Felton's view of the cast's camaraderie goes beyond simple nostalgia. It's about a connection that was forged through trust, shared experiences, and growing up together in an extraordinary setting. The time they spent on set wasn't all about the scenes they were filming. It was also about the down moments in between, where they could bond and create lasting memories. With so much downtime on set, it was easy to build friendships in a natural way. Whether they were learning lines, squeezing in school lessons, or just goofing around between takes, those little moments created bonds that would last long after the camera stopped rolling.
Obviously, we were just kids, and we were all looking forward to mucking about together.
Even as they gather for conventions, reunions, or other Harry Potter celebrations, the family feeling remains as strong as ever. Felton's stories show that the magic behind the scenes was just as special as the on-screen magic fans got to experience. The relationships the cast formed are a testament to the enduring power of shared memories, trust, and of course, friendship.
You're gonna regret this.
Class dismissed.
Felton's reflections highlight how much the cast grew together, with a mix of fun, learning, and real inspiration from those around them. It's clear that behind the magic on screen was an equally special magic off camera.
I think I'm scarily like my character.
Rupert Grint was so perfect for the part of the anxious but loyal Ron Weasley in the Harry Potter series that it can be difficult to separate the actor from his on-screen character.
Rupert, be funny. Be funny.
Be funny.
From rapping at his audition to failing to turn in on set homework, Collider goes in-depth on how the actor prepared to play Ron.
And for the other viewers, get a mousetrap. Don't put it on your nose.
When the Harry Potter movies were announced, casting directors received a slew of audition requests from excited fans everywhere, the likes of which include legendary actor Robin Williams. Rupert Grint set himself apart quickly from other hopeful Rons by rapping at the start of his audition. On an episode of Rosie O'Donnell, the young actor shared that he was a massive fan of the series and had written to the cast to try to score an audition. When the young actor received no reply,
A month went by, and still, nothing.
he decided to up the ante.
I really want to be in this film, so I made this videotape.
As he tells O'Donnell,
First, I dressed up as my drama teacher, who was a girl, so it was kind of scary.
that fateful and daring move
Then I made this rap song of how much I want to be in the film.
landed Rupert the audition, and the rest, as they say, is history.
I'm Ron, by the way. Ron Weasley.
Fans have gone on to ask for the rap years later, and when Grint is feeling generous, he'll spit out some of those first bars that got him in the door to stardom.
Hello there, my name's Rupert Grint. I hope you like this and don't think I stink.
As for what the 11-year-old actually wanted to be before Harry Potter changed the course of his life, an ice cream man. As he told CBS News, "When I was younger, I had sort of always seemed like a really cool job to be an ice cream man. And I thought, why not?" Grint now owns an ice cream truck, but he never did make a career change. Instead of snow cones, we got Ron Weasley. We'll take it.
They must have been looking for something.
The parallels between Rupert and Ron are uncanny. Rupert is one of 5 children. Ron is one of 7. Rupert's father sells memorabilia, and Mr. Weasley obsesses over and collects Muggle artifacts.
Dad loves muggles. Thinks they're fascinating.
Rupert's mother was a cake decorator and homemaker who minded over the children. Ron's mother took care of the home and her 7 children.
Bed's empty. No note. Car gone.
Rupert, like Ron, feels overshadowed in his large family.
Oh, Mum made it.
A feeling not uncommon amongst kids of similar backgrounds. Needless to say, the role was effortless for Grint, as he was able to lend his life experience and personality to the role.
No thanks. I'm all set.
However, this would later make it difficult for the young actor to distinguish between himself and Ron Weasley.
Another Weasley. I know just what to do with you.
When asked, the red-headed star defines his life by 2 distinct time periods, before Harry Potter and after. "For the first few Harry Potter films, I was living the dream," Grint writes in The Guardian, but being an overnight star was not easy for a boy of humble beginnings.
Wingardium Leviosa!
The films would eventually take their toll. When I got to film 3 or 4, I started to feel an overwhelming weight of responsibility because they were so phenomenally popular. The whole press and red carpet thing was an attack on the senses. I don't excel in that kind of environment. Eventually, the limelight and work demands would force Grint to question his involvement in the project altogether. He says, "There were definitely times when I thought about leaving. Filming Harry Potter was a massive sacrifice, working from such a young age for such long periods, and I definitely remember thinking during one extended break, this whole thing is so all-consuming. Do I really want to go back?" There even came a point at which the line between himself and Ron Weasley began to blur, and the two, according to Grint, became virtually the same person. "There's a lot of me and Ron, and moving on was a massive adjustment because it was such a constant part of my life. I don't want to liken it to coming out of prison because it wasn't a prison, but it did feel like stepping out of an institution." According to the actor, if you were to call him Ron to this day, Grint will answer,
"You're gonna suffer, but you're gonna be happy about it."
When Alfonso Cuarón signed on to direct The Prisoner of Azkaban, the director intended to take the film in a darker, more serious direction. Grint and his castmates were teenagers by the filming of the 3rd film and had begun to show a deeper curiosity about the craft of acting.
Did you see her come in?
Cuarón seized on their intrigue and told IndieWire, "From the get-go, we talked about how we wanted to ground everything, to make it about a normal human experience in this world. We wanted to explore the internal life of each one of these characters. They were incredibly intuitive about this and very receptive. In order to get to know the cast better and to provoke the lead actors into deeper thought about their characters, Cuarón assigned the trio to write an essay describing the motivations of their characters. Emma Watson, in a very Hermione way, wrote a 10-page paper. Danny Radcliffe turned in a 1-page summary. Rupert Grint did not hand in anything at all. When asked to elaborate by British GQ, the actor responded with,
I was doing like my GCSEs, I was doing some like important exams at the time.
To be clear,
and also it's a very kind of Ron thing to do, so I didn't do it.
Grint was not channeling his academically unmotivated character. Instead, he was hard at work preparing for standardized high school tests.
It's meaningless to those who've forgotten how to listen.
It seems like much of the public was prepared to watch the young stars of Harry Potter follow the troubled path of many child film stars before them. But no such thing happened. Grint credits their well-balanced dispositions in part to the environment on set. You felt people are just kind of waiting for us to fall into that stereotype of, I suppose, child actors. But I've always been quite busy, never really had much time to go too crazy. I come from a big family as well, and that always helps you to know who you are. Producers and parents prioritize the young actors' educations, and the cast received personalized tutoring on set for nearly 3 hours a day.
Leviosa! Stop.
Grint was tutored alongside Watson, despite her being 3 years younger.
You do it then if you're so clever. Go on.
While talking to MTV's Josh Horowitz, Grint mentioned, I don't know what this says about where I was on the curriculum, but I was schooled with Emma. She's pretty smart. She's just not supposed to be that smart at that age. Hermione and Ron mirroring much?
She needs to sort out her priorities.
Because several of the Harry Potter sets were built in Leavesden Studios, just north of London, it created a contained space in which the young actors could learn and film without outside scrutiny. As one producer, David Barron, says they were never put under the microscope of the outside world whilst they were working.
I checked this out first term for a bit of light reading.
This is light.
Shut up.
That's not to say that Rupert Grint never got into a little trouble. Much like Ron, Grint was known to be playful and giggly on set.
Listen, Dimpled woman, we know you're in a hurry.
In the famous scene in which Horcrux Hermione and Harry kiss in front of Ron to torment him, Grint would collapse into a giggling fit during every take. When they were there actually filming that kiss, they did actually want me there to kind of play off something, but I just found that too funny. Emma sent me out because I kept laughing. It just looked really strange.
Ronald Weasley! You show up here after weeks!
The anguished expression on Ron's face had to be shot at a different time when the actor could finally pull himself together.
A voice. Your voice, Hermione.
It turns out that Rupert Grint is every bit as lovable and cheeky as Ron Weasley.
But they're all right. No lace, no dodgy little collar.
What are some of your favorite Ron moments?
Let's vote on it. Those in favour?
What's my name, Rob? What's my name?
That's that one.
In the world of Harry Potter, few characters have left a lasting impact as Cedric Diggory. Today at Collider, we take a deep dive into how Robert Pattinson approached the iconic role, from his audition to his unforgettable death scene in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. The journey to becoming Cedric Diggory began, as most roles do, with an audition. Robert Pattinson was relatively unknown at the time, having starred in small roles in TV shows, but the Harry Potter franchise was already a global phenomenon by 2004. The stakes were high and the competition was fierce.
This strapping young lad must be Cedric, am I right?
Yes, sir.
At his audition, Pattinson was introduced to a character that was vastly different from anything he had done before. Cedric, a popular and athletic Hogwarts student, was a symbol of honor and bravery, qualities that would be tested when he faced off against Lord Voldemort's dark forces. But Robert wasn't immediately sold on the role.
The Hogwarts champion, Cedric Diggory!
In several interviews, he's mentioned feeling intimidated by the whole thing. He had to audition with the actual script, which felt incredibly formal, and he just didn't know if he could pull it off. The way the characters are written, they seem so familiar to people, and there's this expectation that you'll be the perfect fit for them. But he didn't feel that way about himself. Director Mike Newell, who directed Goblet of Fire, was initially unsure about Pattinson. He had a clear vision for the character of Cedric, someone who was not just handsome, but genuine and virtuous, with a quiet yet formidable strength. Pattinson wasn't just there to fill the role, he was there to make Cedric memorable. After seeing the subtleties in Pattinson's performance and how he brought a sensitivity to the character, Newell knew he had to cast him immediately. It wasn't just his good looks that made him stand out, but his natural ability to bring depth to a character that could have easily been a cliché.
I'd sort of fallen into it. I mean, it was so terrifying.
Despite landing the role, Pattinson's confidence didn't grow instantly. In fact, he became more intimidated as the gravity of the role set in. Joining the cast of Harry Potter was no small feat, especially for a young actor stepping into a world already populated by established stars. Pattinson found himself comparing his performance to those of his co-stars, most notably Daniel Radcliffe, Rupert Grint, and Emma Watson. The trio had been playing their characters for years, and the dynamic between them had already been cemented. Robert, on the other hand, was the new kid on set, and this created a sense of isolation and self-doubt. In interviews, Pattinson expressed how he'd watch the lead trio in scenes and think to himself, how am I supposed to fit in with them? Daniel, Rupert, and Emma had known each other for years, and he was the newcomer. He felt like he had to try and prove himself every day, even though he knew he didn't need to.
Hey, listen, about the badges. I've asked him not to wear them.
Don't worry about it.
This internal battle with self-doubt is a common theme in Pattinson's career, especially during the Harry Potter days. His drive to be the best version of Cedric sometimes led him to push too hard, overthinking every line and gesture. To combat his nerves, Pattinson tried to do some research, and since many of his scenes were action-packed, he wanted to work on his physicality. But he admits to getting a bit violent with himself to prepare for many of his scenes.
I had no concept of how to kind of get into a psyched-up physical state.
He read a book on method acting, but the only thing he really got out of it was just beating yourself up before every single scene. He was psyching himself up as if he was getting into a fight, and screaming into a pillow and fighting it. Sometimes he'd punch himself and rip his clothes off.
That was basically my only concept of how to prepare for a scene.
At one point, Pattinson even admitted to feeling the pressure of living up to fans' expectations of Cedric Diggory, who was beloved by readers of J.K. Rowling's books. With each take, he worried he might not be able to live up to the image in their minds.
How are you?
Spectacular.
With these fears in mind, Pattinson began to explore what made Cedric Diggory different from the rest of the characters in Goblet of Fire. Cedric's most prominent characteristic is his kindness. He was a hero, yes, but not a hero of grand speeches or flashy feats of strength. He was simply a person of integrity who did what was right, even when faced with peril. Pattinson worked closely with the film's producers and his fellow actors to ensure that Cedric wasn't just a passive character who was there to serve the plot.
I remember the first scene I ever shot on that was in the magical maze at the end.
Cedric was a key player in Harry's journey, someone who embodied the idea that good people can face dark forces and still come out with their honor intact. He worked a lot with Newell on the idea that Cedric is supposed to be a hero in a quiet way. He doesn't wear it on his sleeve, but it's just something that he does.
You were gonna let it get me.
For a moment, so did I.
Cedric is a good guy without trying to prove it to anyone. One of the biggest challenges for Pattinson was ensuring that Cedric's nobility wasn't overshadowed by his inevitable death. Cedric's death scene stands as one of the most tragic moments in the Harry Potter series.
Voldemort's back! Cedric, he asked me to bring his body back.
But Pattinson was determined that Cedric's demise wouldn't be a mere plot point. It had to be meaningful. In preparation for that scene, Pattinson did extensive work on grasping the emotional impact of Cedric's death, not just for the character, but for the audience. He used his method approach and tried to anticipate the fans' reactions to better comprehend the weight of his character's death. He knew this was a moment that would haunt Harry for the rest of his life and serve as a pivotal turning point for the entire series, setting up the last 4 movies.
It was a big deal at the time. It felt like very, very intimidating.
Another surprising challenge Pattinson faced was learning how to use a wand. Although he was playing a wizard, the intricacies of wand movement weren't something Robert had considered before. As part of his preparation, he underwent special wand training to ensure that he could hold his wand correctly and perform his spells in a believable way. But when it came to his climactic death scene, it's as if he forgot all his training. In an interview, Pattinson mentions that he remembers holding a wand,
thinking that it felt so dorky to hold it like a magic wand, so I'm holding it like a gun.
With 2 hands. This might sound trivial to some, but to Pattinson, the details mattered.
Thinking I'm in like a Die Hard movie. I think I even have one eye closed.
Like it's got a viewfinder on it. He wanted to look as though the magic he wielded was second nature, even though he was still learning the ropes. The wand was symbolic of Cedric's growth as a wizard, a young man who was talented, but still learning where he fits in the grand scheme of the magical world.
He's back! He's back!
By the time it came to film Cedric's death scene in Goblet of Fire, Pattinson had fully embraced the character. But even as the end of Cedric's journey approached, he found it difficult to let go. The scene in which Cedric is murdered by Peter Pettigrew is gut-wrenching, not just because of the violence, but because of the promise Cedric represents to Harry and to the audience. He is a symbol of everything that is pure and good in the world of Harry Potter.
We have to get back to the cup. Now!
What are you talking about?
Pattinson recalls the difficulty of filming that moment, particularly because he knew it would leave such a lasting impact on fans. He knew that Cedric's death had to be emotional. He didn't want to make it too dramatic or theatrical, but he also wanted to give the scene its due weight.
Who are you? What do you want? Kill the spare. Ivana! No!
It was hard because it wasn't just about the death itself. It was about what it meant for Harry and the future of the story. And so, when the final take was completed, Robert Pattinson's work on Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire came to a close. His portrayal of Cedric Diggory was met with widespread praise, not just for his charm or good looks, but for his ability to bring depth and humanity to a character whose life was tragically cut short.
Thanks. No problem.
Cedric Diggory might have only appeared in one Harry Potter film, but thanks to Robert Pattinson, he left an indelible mark on the world of wizardry. And although the character of Cedric Diggory met a tragic end, Robert Pattinson's journey as an actor was only just beginning, one that would take him to the heights of Hollywood and beyond.
Anike!
Ivana Lynch stole the hearts of Harry Potter fans with her pitch-perfect Luna Lovegood. Today, Collider goes behind the scenes on how the talented young actress prepared for her role and delivered an unforgettable performance. Let's check it out.
I'm practically a Harry Potter lexicon. Ivana beats me, but just narrowly.
Before she ever considered auditioning for Luna, Ivana Lynch was a hardcore Harry Potter fan. From the moment she first read the books at 8 years old, Lynch was, in her words, utterly obsessed with the wizarding world of Harry Potter. She even covered her childhood bedroom with Harry Potter posters and closely followed all Harry Potter-related news on MuggleNet, a Harry Potter fan forum. It was there that Lynch even contributed to fan fiction, saying, "I was probably writing about Luna." She sent fan mail to J.K. Rowling, completely unaware that one day she'd be working closely with the world-famous author. And when she was filming Harry Potter, she revealed that she felt like a traitor to her fan community, as she couldn't share details from the filming.
You're just as sane as I am.
Since Harry Potter first hit the theater, Lynch felt a kindredness with Luna. As casting for the Order of the Phoenix approached, she sent letters to casting agents trying to persuade them to let her audition. "I actually got a letter back saying, 'Sorry, you're not the right nationality for this role, but if there's a more appropriate part, we'll contact you,'" she told BuzzFeed. But luck finally smiled upon Lynch. Lynch saw on MuggleNet that open auditions would be held for the part of Luna Lovegood, so she leapt at it. But the competition was steep. Up-and-coming stars like Saoirse Ronan were also being considered, and Lynch didn't have much professional acting experience, at least certainly not on the Hollywood scale.
Whenever you're ready, sir.
Sir, I like her very much.
The young actress was one of thousands of girls who showed up to the audition, and she patiently waited for 4 hours to be seen. The audition was brisk and uneventful. When I went in, they gave sides for a few minutes and then promptly took them away. But 3 days later, Lynch got a call. A week later, she was performing a screen test with Daniel Radcliffe.
Mistletoe.
Lynch was so starstruck by Radcliffe at the time that she was left completely tongue-tied during the audition. "I remember him talking to me, and I kept forgetting that I have to talk back to him because I'm so used to watching him on a screen," she said in an interview for Harry Potter Reunion Return to Hogwarts on HBO. "I kind of think that contributed to the whole Luna Lovegood vibe because she is a bit spacey."
So I would just kind of be like,
3 days after her screen test, Lynch learned she had booked the part. The whole casting process just took 2 weeks, and the rest, as they say, is history.
"Hello, everyone. You look dreadful, Ron."
Lynch admits to bringing her fangirl enthusiasm with her to set and that she would follow her co-stars around, asking microscopic details about them, and generally not knowing how to interact or behave normally. When people would be like, "How are you? What do you like?" I'd be like, "You," she tells Business Insider. Lynch told Collider that she struggled with an inferiority complex, saying, "I don't feel like I was one of the actors. I feel like I was a really big fan." It is precisely Lynch's ability to be vulnerable and to risk embarrassment that gives her portrayal of Luna a sense of conviction and authenticity.
It was quite liberating to see your oddness as a superpower represented on screen.
But Lynch's fangirl obsession helped mask her deeper struggles with body image and self-esteem because it gave her a sense of purpose, identity, and escape from her personal battles. In her memoir, The Opposite of Butterfly Hunting, she describes how her deep love for the Harry Potter series, and particularly her connection to Luna Lovegood, allowed her to focus on something bigger than herself rather than confronting her emotional pain directly. Things turned around eventually as Lynch spent more time around her co-stars and gained more confidence in her own abilities. She began to see the actors she once revered at a distance more as people, and she let go of her own perfectionism.
Hey!
Later!
Harry Potter! You listen to me right now!
It's hard not to notice the stunning similarities between Lynch and Luna, starting with their shared empathy for vulnerable beings and a sense of urgency around stopping oppression. Lynch is an animal lover and animal rights activist. She is a dedicated ambassador for the World Animal Protection Organization and a passionate vegan, directly paralleling Luna Lovegood's own sensitivity towards the magical creatures in the Harry Potter world. In one notable scene, Luna shares her affinity with Thestrals in the Order of the Phoenix. As the actress tells BuzzFeed in an interview, "When I see an animal in pain, it really upsets me because they're innocent and they're the outsiders. I think that's why I resonated so much with the character of Luna in the Harry Potter movies. I feel for the oppressed and I want to stand up for them."
I think they're misunderstood like a lot of creatures are.
Luna also in this moment implies that she is aware that others see her as different, which is why many keep their distance. In her portrayal, Lynch conveys Luna's social alienation with an innate understanding, yet she infuses the character with a sense of self-acceptance and forgiveness, a quality undoubtedly influenced by her own personality and life experience. But that's not to say that Lynch is her character, or at least portrays a faithful copy of the Luna from the books. If anything, she considers her portrayal of Luna to be a marriage between Rowling's literary rendering and her own interpretation. "If I was too much like her, I just wouldn't be able to be objective," she tells Collider.
I thought, I'm going to do my impression of Luna, but my vision, what I think of her.
Ironically, Rowling was so inspired by Lynch's take on the part that she began using the young actor's performance to finish writing the character, a total dream to a superfan like Lynch. Despite this, Lynch maintains a distinction between book Luna and movie Luna. "Personally, I will read the books and not hear my voice. I'll picture Luna as I imagined her, and she's not exactly like me and how I did it," she says. At other times, the differences have caused her distress. At the premiere of The Order of the Phoenix, Lynch was devastated after feeling that she had ruined Luna for playing her so differently from Rowling's vision. It's safe to say that Lynch is in the slim minority of people who feel this way. Movie Luna is much beloved by the HP fandom, and whatever differences there may be, they only work to enhance the character in other ways. For example, Luna's eccentricity comes across as much funnier in the films.
I sleepwalk, you see. That's why I wear shoes to bed.
Lynch, like the rest of the young cast, kept up her studies while filming. Producers and parents prioritized the young actors' educations, and the cast received personalized tutoring on set for nearly 3 hours a day. Because of time constraints, not all subjects could be covered, so the primary focus was literacy, science, and math. Much of the cast went on to continue their studies after the films wrapped. While Lynch and her co-stars could have easily gone off the rails like other child stars, they did not. That was largely due to the dedication of the team, who worked hard to create a sane and supportive environment for them. Several of the Harry Potter sets were built in Leavesden Studios, just north of London. It created a contained space in which the young actors could learn and film without outside scrutiny. As one producer, David Barron, says, "They were never put under the microscope of the outside world whilst they were working." Lynch echoes Barron in a separate interview, saying, "There was a naivete to our experience that's impossible to replicate for young actors today." In addition to her academic and acting pursuits, Lynch has also attended school for creative writing, proving herself to be a natural creative.
My mum always said, the things we lose have a way of coming back to us in the end.
Lynch stepped onto the set of Harry Potter with no prior Hollywood experiences. She essentially lived the pinnacle of her film career by the end of her first major role. At 19 years old, she went on to seek out other opportunities, but quickly learned that not everything was like Harry Potter. "I certainly felt disillusioned for a while after. I realized that everything isn't so well written." But the actress has pursued other genres, including independent films, where she enjoys more autonomy. "You do really have to build the role to be more of the author," she adds. Lynch hasn't left Hogwarts behind for good. She remains close friends with Bonnie Wright, who plays Ginny Weasley, and is still a fan of the series, as well as an occasional contributor on MuggleNet.
"Your character is helping me raise my daughters to be confident in who they are."
We remain a big fan of Lynch and thank her for giving a truly unforgettable Luna. What are some of your favorite Luna moments? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
He's got so much more handsome. He's really grown into a man.
Fans agree that Helena Bonham Carter is as perfect as Bellatrix Lestrange. The actress brings bold choices to the role and delivers an unforgettable performance. Today, Collider goes behind the scenes to show how Helena Bonham Carter prepared to play Bellatrix. Check it out. The part of Bellatrix Lestrange was initially offered to Helen McCrory, a different actress. However, McCrory turned it down because she was pregnant. Helena Bonham Carter was then cast as Bellatrix Lestrange, and she embraced the character from day one, as she was already a fan of the paperback series. "I love magic, I love witches, I love the whole Harry Potter world. I was all too happy to play a witch, she tells Entertainment Weekly. Things worked out perfectly for everyone in the end. Helen McCrory went on to play Narcissa Malfoy Bellatrix's sister, and Helena Bonham Carter gave us the iconically demented Dark Witch.
Look what we have here.
It's Harry Potter.
Helena Bonham Carter came on set having reread the books closely to capture her character. The star managed to bring Bellatrix's mannerisms to life so well that many fans believe her performance even outshines Bellatrix in the books. Her devotion to Voldemort is the central driving force of the character, as Bonham Carter revealed in interviews, and it's evident in the way she ogles the Dark Lord and dances in celebration of him. The closeness of her bond to her sister Narcissa also lends something authentic to the role and makes for a stunning contrast to how cold and cruel Bellatrix is to her rivals. It ultimately complicates the character, and Bonham Carter's performance drives home a central point about Bellatrix. For as cruel as she can be to her foes, the Bellatrix is breathlessly loyal to her own. As Bonham Carter says, the Dark Witch is like a mad child. The actress had no issue putting her signature twisted spin on the part. I think I probably made her a bit more insane and unhinged than she was meant to be, she reveals in an interview. Without question, the Bellatrix of the films comes off as far more demented and sadistically gleeful than in the books. But it is precisely Bonham Carter's non-restraint that makes her Bellatrix unforgettable. As for J.K. Rowling, the author was ecstatic with Bonham Carter's interpretation of the role.
Neville Longbottom, is it? How's Mum and Dad?
According to Bonham Carter, when it came to Bellatrix's character, there wasn't a huge amount on the page when she first received the screenplay. However, Bonham Carter found ingenious ways to improvise all the same, and director David Yates gave the actress a wide berth to do so. Co-stars Tom Felton and Jason Isaacs reveal that they never knew what the actress would come up with, but that it was nonetheless very exciting, and kept the cast and crew on their toes. Whatever she did on that take, it doesn't mean she's going to do the same on the next, says Felton. Some of Bonham Carter's improvisations did not make the final cut, but those that did lent an anarchic quality to the character. For example, in Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, Bonham Carter decided to run up and down the dining table in the Great Hall and kick objects off it. This particular improvised antic added even more dimension to Bellatrix's bone-chilling display of gleeful destruction and hatred of the Great Hall. Bonham Carter's full immersion into her improvisations makes her a fantastic Bellatrix. But in one particular moment, the actress got just a little too engrossed in the part and ended up piercing Matthew Lewis's eardrum with her wand. As Bonham Carter explains it to Screen Rant, by mistake, I poked him in his ear. I thought I could brandish the wand like a sort of Q-tip and clean out his ear, sort of torture it. But unfortunately, he moved toward the wand as I was prodding it. Lewis was nice about the accident and didn't tell Bonham Carter how bad the injury was until days later, but all was already forgiven by that point.
Don't give it to her! Shh.
It's hard to separate Bellatrix from her half-bedraggled and half-glamorous appearance, but that was Bonham Carter's imagining of the character. Bellatrix's gnarly and rotting teeth were Bonham Carter's idea. According to the actress, Bellatrix had been in prison so long that her mouth would have rotted out. It also added an appearance of madness and terror. Her signature corset, it was also Bonham Carter's idea, as was the dark eyeliner, and the signature thick nest of hair piled high on her head. As she tells Entertainment Weekly, I wanted her to be sexy and revolting at the same time. At one point, she might have been attractive, but no longer. Bellatrix's wig was one of the most expensive of the cast. Each wig was made from human hair and had to be knotted strand by strand. Bonham Carter also wore fake nails to give Bellatrix's hands their menacing, claw-like appearance. However, the actress is rumored to have routinely picked them off between takes and would leave them scattered around the set for the crew to find later.
He'll just slither back into his hole.
The cast of Harry Potter spent about 3 weeks in wand school, where Bonham Carter and her castmates practiced all kinds of magical moves. We took it very, very seriously. I actually got a wand blister on the middle finger, reports the actress. The wand fighting techniques were inspired by fencing, and the moves were even given Latin names. While each actor had their own fighting style, Bonham Carter thought of Bellatrix's wand swinging to be fast and snappy like ping pong. She would even accompany her movements with clicking tongue noises. It's not all fun and laughs. It's actually quite hard work, she says. One big challenge for the actress was remembering that the wands and their magic were lethal, a difficult task when the cast swung their wands dryly on set without seeing the actual spells they were casting. So when Bonham Carter got to cast a spell as Bellatrix and set Hagrid's hut ablaze in The Half-Blood Prince, the ability to see the fruits of her magical labor with her own eyes was, according to Bonham Carter, enthralling. I actually pointed my wand and it blew up. The power, she said, before humorously adding that it reminded her of Angry Birds, a star with a sense of humor. We love it.
I wish to enter my vault.
One of Helena Bonham Carter's favorite scenes to film was the moment in Deathly Hallows Part 2, where she pretends to be Bellatrix Lestrange, who is in turn pretending to be Hermione Granger, while sneaking into Gringotts. During a 2011 press conference, Emma Watson shared that working with Bonham Carter on the scene was one of the highlights of her Harry Potter experience. And for Bonham Carter, the feeling was also mutual. Rather than put Emma Watson in a hell of a load of makeup, they just said, "Now you go act like Hermione." That was fun, because I always wanted to be Hermione, Bonham Carter told MTV News in 2010. I was looking at Dan Radcliffe and Rupert Grint, and they were treating me as if I was 17.
I don't like to be kept waiting.
But one scene chilled Bonham Carter and Watson when Bellatrix tortures Hermione and etches mudblood into her skin. Watson shared in an interview that Bonham Carter, an actress who can usually immerse herself in her dark characters, did not enjoy the torture scene and felt uncomfortable the whole time. However, even so, the idea of Bellatrix carving the hateful slur into Hermione's flesh did not come from the writer's room. It was Bonham Carter and Watson's idea to emphasize the depth of Bellatrix's hatred and cruelty. Perhaps the real secret sauce to Bonham Carter's Bellatrix is playful chemistry with the rest of the cast. According to Bonham Carter, the Harry Potter cast and crew formed a uniquely nice tribe. She praises the whole filming experience, calling it fantastically well organized, and the assistant directors are simply unbelievable, the best. As for the other actors, Bonham Carter was a favorite by cast and crew alike. She formed a special bond with Daniel Radcliffe in particular. Radcliffe, at a Harry Potter reunion, admits to having had a crush on the talented actress when he was a boy. He even wrote her handwritten letter confessing as much. Years later, the two are good friends and remain in touch through text messages. "She's the best," Radcliffe tells People magazine. "We are gonna have to agree."
You filthy half-blood!
It's all right, it's just a curious lad, aren't you?
Matthew Lewis stole the hearts of Harry Potter fans with his endearing portrayal of the bullied-turned-heroic Neville Longbottom. Today, Collider goes behind the scenes to show how the talented young actor prepared for his role and delivered an unforgettable performance. Check it out. Most of the core cast of child actors for Harry Potter was discovered through open casting calls, including Matthew Lewis. Lewis was an avid Harry Potter fan before auditioning and recalls telling his mother that if a movie were ever made, he hoped she would take him to see it. It felt like a sign from above when open auditions were announced in his hometown of Leeds. Lewis, amongst thousands of other kids, appeared before casting directors at the Queen's Hotel. The young actor would have been grateful to score even just a walk-on part at the part and had no thoughts of getting a large role. When the young hopeful didn't hear from casting in the following days after, he assumed it was all over and moved on. But everything changed just 2 months later. The phone rang and I was asked if I'd like to go to London to meet the director Christopher Columbus and audition for the role of Neville Longbottom, Lewis says. In an interview with Victoria Quarter, Lewis packed his bags and headed to London. He auditioned, and the rest, as they say, is history.
No, I can't see him. Oh my god! I've killed Harry Potter!
Matthew Lewis had to undergo quite a physical transformation to play Neville Longbottom. He had to wear a fat suit to fill out his figure. He wore fake teeth to create Neville's signature overbite and shoes 2 sizes too big. Lewis also sported prosthetics behind his ears to make them stick out. Lewis could relate to his on-screen character. "I was just a kind of short, chubby kid who was crap at sport," he tells People magazine. But as Lewis grew up between filmings and naturally thinned out, makeup and wardrobe had to work twice as hard to keep him looking Neville-ish. That included stuffing the actor's cheeks with cotton wools to replace the volume that he had lost. Lewis found it to be uncomfortable and disgusting. "They just absorbed saliva, so after a full day," explains the actor.
Why is it always me?
Lewis admits it was hard to be known as the stout and gawky Longbottom. "I thought this is what the rest of the world thinks I am, what I really look like. I was so sick of the fat suit, I used to take it off as soon as I came off set, even if it was only for 20 minutes. But the actor eventually appreciated how much his physical transformation helped him get into character. "I'm glad I stuck with it." Eventually, the world saw Lewis grow up into a handsome young man, though the change presented new challenges. Tabloids and magazines presented images of Lewis out of costume as a transformation from gawk to gorgeous. In actuality, Lewis wasn't wearing his Neville Longbottom costume, and like all kids, eventually outgrew his childlike features. While the actor described the newfound attention as flattering in some respects, he ultimately found it daunting. "People started focusing on my appearance rather than my work, and I was uncomfortable with it." The good news is the actor has been able to keep a low profile since his Harry Potter days and has gone on to star in other films. He has thus fully shed his Neville skin.
And try again. Expelliarmus!
Neville is famously clumsy. During his first flying lesson at Hogwarts, Neville couldn't help but pull attention as he loses control of his broom and zips off. He thrashes through the sky, up against walls, and holds on to the broom in terror. Broomstick flying was filmed using green screens and a crane. In the first film, it was much cruder looking compared to later films. They literally just strapped a broomstick to a crane on the back of a pickup truck and then drove me around on it, says Lewis. I was very safe, obviously, and the stunt team was great, but very unsophisticated compared to what came later and what they've got here. Lewis also added that the broom seat was not comfortable. Eventually, the crew learned to push flight scenes to the front of the production schedule to allow for more time to capture details. The crane mechanism to stand in as the brooms also became more sophisticated per Lewis, and more CGI was added to enhance effects. Whether he was floating, flying, or crashing, Lewis nailed the physicality of his performance.
Come back down this instant!
One of Neville's most heroic moments occurs in the final film, Deathly Hallows Part 2. It's looking like the end for Hermione and Ron, as Nagini, the evil snake, slithers down the stone steps and pounces. Just then, Neville appears from the shadows with the sword of Gryffindor, decapitates the snake, and thus destroys Voldemort's final Horcrux. This act of bravery makes Voldemort vulnerable enough to be destroyed. But behind the scenes, the sword proved to be unwieldy for Lewis. While shooting one battle scene, the sword flew out of the actor's hands and towards a group of young extras. I shouted to warn them, but no one could hear me, as explosions were happening on set. I seriously thought I'd killed one of them. Luckily for everyone involved, no damage was done. The sword landed safely on the ground and far away from any human. But that wasn't Lewis's only on-set fumble. During the filming of one iconic scene in which Bellatrix Lestrange torments, Helena Bonham Carter sticks her wand in Lewis' ear to taunt him. But Lewis jerked his hand towards the wand, and Helena Bonham Carter accidentally pierced Lewis' eardrum for real. I had to have painkillers for a ruptured eardrum, and I couldn't hear anything for a few days in that ear, says Lewis. Bonham Carter was mortified, but all was quickly forgiven. The two still laugh about it together.
Neville Longbottom, is it? How's Mum and Dad?
Better now they're about to be avenged.
Neville's character evolution is one of the most compelling of the entire series. Neville, a once shy, clumsy kid without much confidence, grows into a true Gryffindor who stands up to Voldemort. Lewis is touched by the character and is honored to have, through Neville, become a source of strength for other vulnerable kids. I've even been getting letters from children who have been bullied at school and they've realized that because of Neville and his story, things can work out well. I really feel that it's the best role I could have hoped for. That doesn't mean that the actor is immune to wincing at his own performance, mainly because he identifies so closely with Neville's clumsier aspects. At times it's painful how much of me there is in Neville. When I'm watching, I'm like, that's not Neville, that's you. As a result, the actor avoids watching the series when it's on, or really, the scenes he's in. While he has no problem sitting through scenes featuring his co-stars, he admits that as soon as he appears, he turns off the TV. Yeah, I can't bear it, Lewis reveals. But despite his aversion to his own image, his stepfather proudly re-watches the series whenever it's on, and his niece and nephew are also growing into Harry Potter fans. Chin up, Matthew. You're a star.
That is correct, Longbottom.
To blow it up! Boom! Boom!
While Neville was learning wizardry at Hogwarts, Matthew Lewis was learning math on set. When asked how much of his life was taken up by Harry Potter, the actor responded, a lot. We filmed for months and months. In the early days, it was 6 months filming and 6 months at school. But the production accommodated their young actors and provided on-set school. They had so many kids working on the films that they had a whole floor of classrooms. We had to do 3 to 5 hours of lessons every day, says Lewis. The studios at Leavesden, where most of the films were shot, offered a sane, safe environment for the young actors to work and learn, away from paparazzi and the bustle of London.
You know, if you're interested in plants, you'd be better off with Goshawk's Guide to Herbology.
As a result, the young actors completed their education and a few later earned advanced degrees. Warner Brothers were really good with us, says Lewis. The actor was later awarded an honorary master's degree from Leeds Metropolitan University. Our boy is technically a master.
There is some debate among herbologists as to the effects of freshwater versus saltwater.
You're telling me this now?
Thanks to his hard work, Matthew Lewis made a truly unforgettable Neville Longbottom. What are some of your favorite Neville moments? Let us know in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe.